So just another quick video about VDJ2023 and something I called my master pad page. And I think I've already done a video like this in the past, but this tends to change over time whenever new stuff is being added to VDJ. So someone asked for an updated version, so I guess here it is. So what is my master pad page? Well, my master pad page is a pad page that with stuff on it that I've created myself and which I use all the time when DJing gigs and also when recording mixes. So I always map that somewhere on the controller. In this case, I've connected a small redo body controller. So that's the one I'm using when I'm not using the mouse right now. And as you can see here, that already has a lot of pad pages, of course, but I've added pad page, my own master pad page as page 5. So that means when I click down here, you can see it's the 5th pad and I select it and now I got my master pad page. So that's what this is all around. It's already been selected on deck B. So that's what the video is about. And I think I'm gonna go through each of these 8 ones, and if I click shift, I got 8 more. So you can see what it is that's on here. Of course, I'm also going to link this in the video description, so you can go grab this pad page and try it yourself, or maybe just grab some script from it if you want to use some of the stuff that's shown in this video. So the first 2 ones are actually just breaks. The first one being a 1-beat one, and the second one being a 4-beat one. So I mainly use the first one as like an added effect, and the second one to get out of a track. But since it's not just using the regular break, it's using this one, the slip break, that I've added as an extension effects. The track is running continuously underneath it, so it will start in time. That also means that it will start, so you need to know what you're doing, and you need to get out of the track and into the next one. So let's try both of them. The first one is just for added effect, so I'll just let everything run after the trigger. So it'll be like just before the one really to make a little added effect, so something like this. So that's how I usually use that one. Then the slow one, like I said, I use to get out of a track. So if I turn up the next track is not in time, it's not the correct BPM. Could have been because they're pretty close, but in this instance it's not. So I use that like break to not make it obvious that I'm changing tempo, right? That's how you often use these break things. So then I just basically have to turn down the volume of the outgoing deck after triggering it, and then start the new track on the other deck. So something like this. So that's how I usually use the second pad here. Now the third pad, that's a pitch lock. So I actually use that to lock the 2 pitches together. That can be done on different BPMs, but I usually use it on the same BPM. So let me just sync the other deck like this. And then when I add the pitch lock, that means that after mixing, then I can gradually go back to this incoming deck's pitch, but while still hearing both of the tracks without it getting weird. So something like this. So again, mix in. Trigger pitch lock. And then trigger pitch reset. Might turn this deck down a bit. So then you get this combined pitch reset on both of them because we've locked them. So that's a nice little thing. Of course, I usually don't use the mouse to click this. That's also always mapped on my controller somewhere. And if it's not, it actually also on this pad page that we're looking at. We'll get back to that. So that's the pitch lock. Then the fourth one is arm echo out. And that's a little bit funny because that's actually not, I'll just reset stuff here. So that's actually not an echo out, it's actually a docking echo that I've mapped. And on top of the docking echo, I've actually also set it to set these to specific lengths. Let me just change this so you can see it changing when I click the button. So when I click arm echo out here, it sets this to specific length and feedback percentage and stuff, so that I know exactly what I'm gonna get when I do it. So of course the The ducking echo, that's actually my arm echo out down here, so like this, is the one where it triggers when you turn down the volume fast, or you do a cue or whatever. So I'll just sound something like this. Bring it back. And the same on the cue. So, because I've had this pad down here, it triggers it, or it arms it, so it's ready for whatever I do, and it's always with the same settings. That's the general idea. Just turn that off again. Turn that off again. So that was the arm echo out. The next 4 ones are actual assisted mixing, if you will. So what they do is, while I hold them down, they do some effects, and when I let them go, they mix out onto the next track. So for them to be good, I have to align the next track, so which I've already done. It's cued here, and I sync it. So now it's also synced. So this is basically drops. So whenever I let go, it drops into the next track. So it has to be aligned in a way so that it sounds good to drop into that. So it has some stuff going on when you press the button, and some stuff going on when you let it go, right? So let me just do the first 2, which are the Mobius and then Mobius reverse. So like this. And the other way. And as you probably saw, I turned up the volume on the second deck, because that's of course also very important, otherwise it'll say nothing. And you also saw that it worked in both directions, because I had this master one selected on both decks. So that was the Mobius and Mobius reverse. There's also Mobius Saw, and that's going to be on the shift function in just a second. Let's go through the final 2 ones on this one. And that's kind of the same. It's a noise echo, half a beat, and noise echo, 3/4 of a beat. So it gives me a little different flavors, and I'll go back and forth again, so we're using both decks. So what happens is that the echo is actually starting when I press the button. But the noise is not going to start. The noise is just going to be set on the filter, so it's going to be the color effects. So I need to get the noise part, I need to use the filter knob, so this thing, on top of it, to get that effect. So let's just try it without the filter knob first. So I play, and I press the third pad in the bottom row, so like this. And again it does the mixing, and I can do the final one, the 8th one, 4th one in the bottom row. Like that. So that was just by pressing the button, and I got different flavors of echo back and forth. But now it's like I said, it also sets the filters. So if I grab that button, I can do some swooshing, if you will, on top of it. So something like this. And it actually also resets the filter for me in the end. So I can do it with the final one and the other direction like this. So to get this kind of crazy thing on top, right? So that's the last 2 ones. Now if I press shift down my controller, I get the other 8. And the first 4 ones are actually just to set the flavor of the filter knob, so the color effects. So that sounds something like this. So I have filter as default, so that's just this way. And echo, is that one? It's like this. And the other direction. And the noise one is like the one we used before. So like this on top. Which I mainly used for mixing. And the final one, the vocals one, is the only one that's stem space, so I isolate the vocals in one direction and isolate instruments the other direction. So like that. So that was the fourth top of the shift layer, if you will. And just put it back to filter, and then at the bottom here, the first two is again the Mobius, but this time it's the sawtooth one, so it's a bit more aggressive. So let's see what that sounds like. So I play, and I let it do the mixing simply by clicking and releasing the pad. And the reverse one. Like that. And then the two final ones down here on the shift function is pitch reset, like I said before. So that's if I haven't got it on the controller for some strange reason, then I have a backup one here. So I've just moved this manually. And then if I click the pitch reset here down here, it will of course reset the pitch. I use that quite a lot, so that's always important for me to have. So this is kind of the backup place. But smart fader may be a little bit more interesting, because that's a pretty new feature. So for that to really work, we have to set this back to its original pitch, and it does the most, if you will. And then we have to put the crossfade all the way to one side, because if we do it right now, then it changes some stuff on both decks, including the decks that's currently playing, and that's going to be weird. So it's important to, before you click it, it's important to have everything reset like I just did, like this, and then move the crossfader to the playing deck. So like this, and I play the deck, and I set it, and then you will see it changes the pitch and everything on the other one, like you do. It's smart fader, so it does all the stuff with it. Just have to turn this on just about in time, so I'll just do it here, and then it aligns itself, and then I can drag to move it over, and it does some EQing, and it does some filtering, and it does a pitch reset combined and lock faction and stuff like that. And of course the opposite the other way around. So it generally does a very smooth mix if you set it up correctly before you use it, right? So that was basically my pad page, and the 8 pads plus 8 shift pads that I have on it that I use all the time, and I always make sure I have easy access to on whatever controller I'm using. So like I said, I'll put the link for it in the video description, so you can go grab some stuff if you like some of the stuff in this video.